Hi, this is Dr. Doris.
Hey dolls, it's Lee, beauty expert and also certified holistic health coach. Did you know
Ooh,
that?
that's a lot. Anyway, we're from Dalton Beauty and welcome to our first episode of What the Cup.
We're going to talk about a whole lot of things. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll be here every week, Thursday, 12 p.m.
Get your seatbelt.
We are
Francesca, I was showing Francesca, hold on, do you like our stand didn't come yet? Shh. It's a pallet stand.
It's a pallet stand. It's a makeshift stand.
Please tell me that you guys all watched that episode with Alec Baldwin. He was talking about his cookies called Sweaty Balls.
No, didn't. Didn't
Fabulous.
watch it. I didn't watch Saturday Night Live.
And they talk like this, and they were like really nice. They had crocheted sweaters on, and they were like nice,
Em, are we
lovely,
okay?
church law abiding. So, and she's going, well, I got a little greedy this holiday season.
It's called, what is it, ASMR?
Sweaty balls. No, it was on Saturday Night Live.
I know, but Francesca's saying it's ASMR, meaning like that low monotone voice. Like people listen to that.
Like this.
They will make YouTube videos about that.
Sometimes I think I sound like Dennis Basso.
All right.
I love my dentist, but we have that raspy kind of like voice.
We're doing a trial run of our podcast. We've only been talking about it for 3 years.
Well, it's sometimes, better late than never.
All right.
It's better than talking about, crazy
better than talking
things.
about... Yeah, we do talk about crazy things. So we're doing a trial run of the podcast, and we
don't have our sign up yet, but we have one.
We don't have our sign up. We don't have an official name.
We need your help.
We need your help. We need some comments. Perhaps we'll do a post asking for names, although we might keep it as What the Cup. Because, that's very
I like
us.
What the Cup because...
It's crazy. You're like, what? What are they talking about?
Yeah, I like What the Cup, and the reason why I like What the Cup, because, of course, it can be taken so many different ways. I do remember when we sold the cup... for What the Cup, with coffee-flavored lipsticks. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. I love that. One of my favorite sets of all time. But some people did say, well, that sounds a little profane. And I'm thinking, well, it kind of was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, it's the PG version. Well, but wait. I feel like I always have to say this.
What are we saying?
People who curse, there's been studies done, whatever that means. People who use swear words
about their integrity.
The most authentic people that you meet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I must be the most authentic person you've ever met in your life.
You are. I would agree with that.
Well, I don't know. It's just part of when I was growing up. We just used a lot of swear words. My dad would get really pissed off.
Really?
Oh, he would get so mad because we would just say things, and it was never meant to aggravate him or be, disrespectful. Yeah. But shit comes out, right? It just does.
I get it.
And he would get so mad, he would go, not at the dinner table. We would all just laugh. God love him. Yeah. So bad.
Your dad, he was so sweet. I remember when he would call you before you go on QVC.
He watched every airing.
By the way, this is not our final setup. We know this is boring in the background. We're going to have a better background. Our mic stands are going to be good.
Yes, but this
is just a trial run.
How about this mic stand?
All right, so
How many pallets does it take to move up your microphone?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh,
I'm taller than you.
You're taller.
Yeah.
All right. So catch me up on the week. What have you been doing? What have you been up to? What's been going on?
Wow. I don't know. I was down at the Q this week and QVC Italy this week. I saw Easton this week. We turned the electric off on the beach house and finished cleaning that out this week.
What's happening?
So my foyer at my house looks like my beach house because there's more shit in my foyer that needs to find a home for the next year. If not, I'm going to shoot somebody, and I do have guns.
Just not me. I'm not coming over for a little while.
I don't know what I'm going to shoot, but something. Took Lily to the vet yesterday because she gets spayed next week. And that's kind of it. It was pretty low key. This month is a pretty low key because last month they like killed us last week.
You, not
last
me.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
No, that was
Next
an
month
interesting
we're
month.
nuts. Next month is like cray.
Yeah, next month's interesting.
Yeah.
So this was a big week for us though, because we launched tinted
launched a
moisturizer.
lot, which, by the way, is probably one of the most brilliant products, I think, quite honestly, that we've ever made.
A lot of people are saying that.
It's always one of those things that I feel like end up being like, and things that I'm
So
like,
many people
this
are
is a
saying
home
that.
run. This is the most amazing thing. People are like, that product is so good for anyone that needs hydration and moisture, which is anyone that has skin.
Which is anyone, right? So let's spill a
basically.
little tea, as the youngins say. It's
How about
coming.
spill a little coffee?
Yeah, spill a little coffee.
Let's
That's
spill
more
a
our
little
speed.
coffee out of our cup.
So it's coming. We might get in trouble for this, but who cares?
No.
It's coming to HSN
Yes.
in a TS on March 6th.
As like a really incredible bundle.
Yeah, amazing.
Like a crazy cool bundle.
So I keep saying, if you want it, you probably should wait until then. I think.
Well, it's coming as a cool bundle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about that really quick, and we can really like round up and talk about it later when it gets closer to the date. But the date's like really 2 weeks away. Mm-hmm. So we put together this kit.
I know, and I'm out of coffee. Shit.
Are you?
I got like 2 sips left.
No, I should have brought you a fresh one. Mine's all full of cream. I keep wondering why I can't lose weight, and there's 10,000 calories per cup.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, it's all
No.
cream.
There's not 10,000 calories in it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, so let's talk about the TS that's coming up at HSN.
So,
You want to talk about it?
yeah, talk about it.
Okay, so how many people have inboxed me and inboxed Haley and Francesco
Commented on social.
that they wanted something, quite honestly, for mature skin? Okay, so when you think about mature skin, and I have it, I'm, holding on to 61 by a thread. What are the problems with the skin? The skin is dehydrated. It's a little lackluster. It can be blotchy. You can have fine lines. You can have deep lines. As we age, our pores naturally get a little bit bigger because they're full of, unfortunately, I'm going to say, pollutants, makeup, moisturizers, and we just don't really degunk and debunk that stuff out. And we have texture issues. So the number one thing people say, I really want my skin to look bouncy, and I want my skin to look healthy, and I want my skin to have this kind of glow like I had. Like, how do I get it? I use the best skincare. I exfoliate, Doris. I do all of this stuff. So how do I get that beautiful, bouncy skin that my granddaughter has, my daughter has, and I had when I was young? So we put together this combination, and I'm just going to kind of spill the beans of 2 things that are in it. First and foremost, the Luminous Primer. So
Oh my God, you're really spilling the beans.
I'm spilling it. I don't really care. I can do whatever I want to do. Because I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I just don't care about any backlash.
I think that that's
old
a
enough
great
now.
attitude.
Yeah, listen.
If the world could be more like that, it would be a better place.
Well, here's the deal.
Like, who cares?
Unless my mom is going to say something to my dad is no longer with me, unless my mom is going to correct me, I really don't care. So anyway, we comboed 2 things that actually will give you the look of young, bouncy, gorgeous, plump-looking skin, and of course taking care of the skin by deeply hydrating, deeply moisturizing, and delivering those pro-aging ingredients. So it is the Luminous Primer that will even out the skin
but that's
and
all
give
you
the
can
glow.
say. Can't talk about. That's pretty much everything.
What? And what else is in there? The
tinted moisturizer.
The tinted moisturizer.
They're both new.
They're both new.
But
they're
I think,
both in there.
it's really interesting.
And they're both going to be great. And there's another thing that's in there that's new too.
Kind of.
What's a brand new color? It's
Yeah,
smoking
it's a brand new
hot.
color. But it's a really, I think it's so
So I
interesting.
spilled the beans.
You spilled the beans.
Sorry,
but,
not sorry.
You and I you more than me, right? Because you've been going on QVC for a long time.
30 years.
But you wear like a full face every day. And I think when we are formulating products, it's important to kind of step out of that and say, well, most people don't, right? Like if let us know. Comment at home, let us know. You're probably just looking for something that's based in skincare. That's not scary, that's easy, that's not intimidating.
Right.
That's going to basically be your moisturizer, but better.
Well, yeah.
That's going to even out your skin. It's going to give you those anti-aging ingredients that you want, or pro-aging, however you want to call them, right? To basically stop the clock and make the skin look better. And that's why we created this. I mean, it's one of the few products we have that I think you can actually put on with your hands. I'm personally a brush girl. I just do everything with a brush.
I do too. Other than the primer, I always use my fingers.
Yeah, true. I use my fingers for that too.
Because I really like to kind of get it into the nooks and the crannies, and I really get it into my pores. But I think what happens, quite honestly, is that we become kind of complacent. And let's talk about complacency. Okay. So it's not a bad word. It means you've kind of settled and you're so used to something. Complacent. You become compliant, complacent. We've been using, most of the time, you get really kind of comfortable using the same thing for a long time, and the thought of changing it is scary, but the reality is the same thing that you're using is not giving you what it gave you 5 years ago. You following what I say?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
So that's why this set that we created was, quite honestly, really meant to address what everyone has asked for.
And I think it's important to recognize, too, which oftentimes we have to remind ourselves of, right, is that not everybody wears everything every day in terms of makeup. So, like, for me,
I do.
You do. But the rest of us don't, right? So, I wear TCE sometimes. I wear mushroom skin tint sometimes. I wear tinted moisturizer on the weekends. And I think the beautiful thing about our brand is that you probably do the same. And at the end of the day, you just want to know that what you're putting on your skin is good for your skin. It's going to give you the results that you want, that you can trust it, that you're not you're not slathering your skin in chemicals, which, by the way, I saw a very interesting post, which you and I agree with on social media. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But that's not slathering your skin in chemicals. That's going to give your skin bounce, glow. And honestly,
the formula. Are you going to talk about the SPF?
Yeah. The formula is so smart. We call it genius. So that's coming up in the TS. But, I think one of the things that we really wanted to talk about today, and if you follow us for this show, What the Cup, you know that we were going to do a really great episode last week, but we got so busy.
We got sidetracked.
We talked about wellness, and we talked about the changes that women go through. And, there's so much to unpack when you get into a conversation like this, because we live in this information age, but there's so much conflicting information that you can get and that you can find.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know what to trust. And I think what's really exciting and interesting is that the beauty space, there's about to be like a big wedding, and the marriage is going to be between wellness and beauty, and they're going to intersect because they matter. What you eat matters, how you sleep matters, what you're supplementing matters. Like, all of these things matter in addition to your skincare, in addition to what you're putting on top of your skin, which is your largest organ. So I just wanted to set the stage for that, because I know at home you were so excited for us to have this conversation with Doris, who's a doctor and a product formulator and a woman who is 60 and sensational. I'm in my late 30s. I'm on the edge of that perimenopause. And so we were going to share some tips, right? Share some tricks. You and I both kind of don't... How do we say this in a way that won't get us in trouble? But we don't care, so whatever.
We don't
trust the norm, right? We're critical thinkers.
I think that's one thing that has really gone in today's society is critical thinking. And it's almost like a mass hypnosis that's going on right now.
It is.
And if you think about it, do you know we're the only country in the world where the pharmaceutical companies are allowed to advertise for their drugs?
Here in New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand can? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know about New Zealand, and we're the sickest.
We're the sickest. That's
We're
without question.
The sickest country.
I think
I
one
don't mean
of the
sick in a bad way because I love America and everyone knows that I'm a massive patriot. But what I'm talking about is sick. It's just like inflamed.
We're ill. We're chronically ill.
The food that we eat, all of these things, all play. Soy that we're consuming, like
so
all
let's
of these
start
crazy
there.
things.
Okay,
Where
so
are we
let's,
starting?
Let's start
This
right there.
could go on for years. This podcast.
All right,
but we won't. Our batteries will die before we.
I did my shrooms this morning, so my ADD is going to be on point. I'm going to keep us on track here. We're going to try, because we only have like another basically half an hour or maybe 45 minutes before we get in trouble for keeping you. So let's try to cover like 4 major topics that you feel like are not talked about or are not addressed by like typical mainstream medicine, and that's where we're going to start. Okay, so you and I were having a conversation last week at your house, and I thought that it was really interesting what you said, because we were talking about just like different things in medicine and different ideas and explanations. And, you know, you had said a doctor, a medical doctor, is trained to prescribe medicine.
Yeah. That's why they're called a medical doctor.
Right.
They're a medicine doctor.
So when you kind of, again, I'll use this term a lot, when you unpack that, they're not trained in how to find the root of a problem. They're not trained in how to make that problem go away.
Well, they're trained more.
The medicine is a Band-Aid.
Well, here's the difference. So if you're going to get to the point of the difference between like a chiropractor and a medical doctor
I'm just saying
and an
in terms
osteopath,
of like we could go there if you want.
So the medical society, and I'm not certainly by no means bashing anyone, but the medical society is trained to treat symptomatology. So symptoms. So that's what they're trained to treat. They're trained to fix the symptoms instead of like following the path back to the root.
Right.
So that's what they do. They treat they're symptom treaters. So it's like if I have a sprained ankle, I'm going to take a generalized anti-inflammatory or a painkiller. If I have, I don't know. It's like. They'll treat.
Well, let's bring
the
it
multiple symptoms
to the issue
of
that we're
what
talking
happens
about.
to the root of a problem. What?
Hormones. Hormones are
they're
big
so
thing,
tricky.
right? So they're a big thing.
Hormones are really, really tricky, and it's interesting because every single person is different with their own hormones. So that's where critical.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Stop there for a second.
Not generalized.
It's not one size fits all.
It is not.
And there is a thing called bioindividuality, which
That's
means
correct.
my body is going to be different from your body, which is going to be different from
I wish
Emily
my
and
body
Francesca.
was more like yours.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But I wish mine was more like those two. But
Me too.
they're lucky.
Me three.
So, when you and again, we're not bashing anybody. We're just talking
we're
about
just talking about
experience.
what works for us. Maybe it's
What
something
has
that might
happened
work
to
for
us,
you.
right? So, like for me, I can say, and I think you too, right? You ran into where you go to a doctor, they're like, oh, here's a script, here's birth control, here, this will help your symptoms. I don't want to help my symptoms because this is going to lead to more symptoms. And then you're just chasing after your tail to try and constantly put the fires out. So,
yeah, anytime you take something, even if it is to cure a symptom of something that you happen, it will have an opposite reaction. It will either become toxic in the liver, toxic in the kidneys, it'll express through your skin. So just because you're taking that pill does not mean that it doesn't have a counter side effect.
right.
There's a reason why they have a list this long, may cause.
So that you can't sue them.
Well, they usually do. It's what's that, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Everything that you take will have it's not natural, so it will have a toxin. Listen, I'm the first one that'll pop an Advil, so I'm not saying not to, but I'm just saying when we go to hormones, most of the time what happens when people are going through perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause is HRT.
Or even, honestly, though, what about the whole generation of women that was just told to, like, go on birth control and be on it for 15 years? No one told us it totally messes your gut health. No one told us it totally depletes your B12. No one told us, oh, hey, by the way, it's going to be hard for you to get pregnant later on because your progesterone's been suppressed for 15 years and now your body has to remember how to make it again. I would have liked to have been told all those things.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Right? I mean,
so here's the thing with that. I would imagine that the birth control that everyone went on was for a reason.
No, it
because
wasn't.
they didn't want to get pregnant.
No, when I was literally 13, I had really bad periods.
I hope you weren't sexually active at 13.
I was not.
Bad periods.
TMI.
Yes, they do it to stop the period, to stop the sloughing.
Emily's nodding her head. Francesca's nodding her head.
What?
You go in there at 12 and they're like, oh, you have bad heavy periods? Here you go. Here's hormonal birth control. That'll stop that. So it's like, yeah, okay, the birth control is a secondary, whatever you want to call it, when you get to be that age. But this is plaguing a generation, right? And we're not going to go down this rabbit hole. I'm going to move on in a second. But now, here we go. Fast forward 15 years later. Do you know that fertility is like in the toilet for women?
Well, fertility is in the toilet. It's not just because of
I know
the
it's
birth
not just
control
one
pill.
thing.
You are
Our progesterone levels in the toilet.
That's
our gut
right.
microbiomes in the toilet.
So birth control, when you take birth control, it's fooling your body to thinking that you're pregnant. That's why you do not have a period.
No, I know.
Okay?
I know that now.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, it's like this level of estrogen and progesterone, and estrogen is the nuisance hormone that causes the tenderness in the breast, the that soft squishy look, and that's what they give HRT, hormone replacement therapy, just so you know, as you get older. So what happens? You're 12, 13, you have like really horrible periods, and they can be really, debilitating. You go on, birth control, and then what happens? And then it comes time that you actually want to have a family. You go off the birth control pill, and then your doctor, your gynecologist says, well, you really should kind of go off of that now. Then you make the decision. Most people are not wearing condoms that are married, so you make the decision who's going to do what for birth control, because we already have, the family size that we want. And what happens is there's a break, right? Women usually get their tubes tied, men might get his tube tied. So then what happens is then you start to become perimenopausal, and basically HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, is literally just a lower dose of birth control. That's all it is.
Okay. Well,
so you're back on it again. But here's the deal.
Not me.
So your body remembers estrogen. So it's really interesting because HRT is estrogen, right? Hormone replacement therapy is like a dose of estrogen and progesterone.
Because I think what you're about to go into is really important, and it needs a little bit of context. So the first thing that we were going to talk about is basically, can you explain, because nobody does, what is actually happening to you once you start to go into perimenopause?
There's so much shit.
But from a hormonal standpoint, explain the levels and like what's falling off and what that causes you to feel.
Your estrogen is becoming depleted because you're born with X amount of eggs, your ovaries start to slow down, your periods start to slow down, and the reason all has to do with the hormonal complex. I mean, this goes back to, I don't know if you remember, like back in the day in biology with Krebs cycle. I mean, it can get really intense, and I don't want to get like
No. Keep it high. Keep it high level.
Keep it high level. But what happened is your estrogen level is just starting to deplete. So your estrogen is, which in turn is called the nuisance hormone. It's what keeps us feminine, right? It's what gives us breast
When you
tenderness.
call it the nuisance hormone, can you explain that?
Well, yeah, because it creates a nuisance. It's like when estrogen goes really high, you can have cramping. It makes you look heavy. It holds on to fat. It makes your boobs tender, big and swollen. Your butt bigger, like estrogen. That's why, like a lot of these things, when you're seeing trends, they go on estrogen replacement therapy, because estrogen is what makes us female.
I know, but all of
That's
those
why
things,
when you're going
like,
through menopause, you
what?
all of a sudden get hairs on your chin.
But like, okay, somebody like me who's
I can talk about this because I'm 61.
Like, I don't want more of that stuff.
It's not a matter. It's interesting because
I want the estrogen to.
Well, your cells remember estrogen.
Down.
You have your cells retain it. There's a whole lot of different studies that happen with estrogen and what they're thinking, because the minute you go on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, of course you're going to start feeling better. And what happens is that
So
most people
you gotta dig in. So you say you're gonna start feeling better.
Yeah.
How are you gonna start feeling better?
Well, as your body starts to deplete in estrogen, your body starts to, you get sweats, you get a brain fog, your hair gets brittle, you get hair in places that you never had hair before, your skin gets dry, your vaginal area turns into the desert. Like, there's a lot of things that actually happen by a depletion. Well, it's a depletion of estrogen. So HRT, and there's all different kinds. Originally, it used to come from, believe it or not, like I think the leading one maybe 20, 30 years ago was called Premarin, they called it. And it came from the estrogen they took
I
from
remember my grandma took that.
Pregnant horses' urine. That's actually where it came from, for real. And they would take the urine.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
doesn't matter. Just
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't even remember. I don't think Premarin is like, it could still be around, but anyway, with when you start to go perimenopausal, you lack sleep. You wake up because your temperature fluctuates. Like, there's so many things that happen.
I'm dealing with that. I've been dealing with that for a while, though.
Well, that's estrogen, and you've talked about that. We've talked about, like, the estrogen. So there's some rules of thumb that say, like, some people say take HRT. It gives you a very low dose of estrogen and progesterone, okay, to kind of balance that off, to like relieve the symptoms a little bit. But in turn, they kind of make you really kind of heavy because your body has so much estrogen because your cells remember the estrogen, so you have a ton of estrogen.
Wait,
so,
I have to ask you a question.
Go.
When you say your body remembers the estrogen,
it has it. It's in your cells. Your body's made estrogen and it retains it. It's actually in your cells.
So how do you detox
it? So here's the it's like this, it's a slinky, because there are some doctors that feel like HRT, and there's so much money made in estrogen right now. Like a shit ton. It's a big money maker. Estrogen.
Because of the hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah, and birth control and hormone replacement therapy. Yes. Like, there's big bucks in estrogen. But if we didn't have
toxic food and toxic skies and toxic water, maybe we wouldn't be so messed up and we wouldn't need the hormone replacement therapy.
But it's not even so much that, but there's so much estrogen in a lot of things that we get right now. Like, think of everything that has soy in it.
Or plastics, or the water.
Soy.
I don't eat soy.
Well, soy is nothing but estrogen.
Yeah, I don't need it for that reason.
You can eat sweet potatoes they mimic estrogen.
All right, wait. So I'm, again, going to try and keep us on track here. So
what do you want to know?
No, so I think now that you're kind of explaining this of what's happening in the body, what's happening with the hormones, like, what do you think are some of the things that you can do? Maybe this is just starting to happen to you, or maybe you're in the thick of it. And what do you think you can do before you decide to take that leap? And what do you think, what's some information that you can arm yourself with so that you can go in to your doctor's office or whatever and feel like you are well informed and you're well educated? Because I think one of the things that we can now talk about openly as a society is you really have to be your own advocate. I mean, I say it all the time. I don't care if it's a beauty product, if it's a medical product, if it's a food product. You have to be your own advocate, because again, something we've talked about. You can walk into a doctor's office, and I'm not trying to be disparaging here. I'm just stating something that happens to people. And they will talk to you in elevated language and elevated verbiage that you might not understand. And you're like, oh, am I supposed to know that? Like, am I stupid for not knowing that? So you kind of accept it, and you don't ask questions, and you go on your merry way. But it's like, no, you have to be informed. You have to know what's going on, right? So with that said, I have two questions. My first is, what do you think you can do from an at-home standpoint? Is it food? Is it exercise? What kind of exercise? Is it moderate exercise? Is it walking? Is it meditating, right? Is it detox, sauna to get rid of the hormones? And then my other question is going to be...
It can be all of the above.
Is going to be, okay, what do you think are like two important takeaways that you should know going into your doctor's office before you start having these conversations about HRT?
Well, I think unfortunately, well, first and foremost, as we age, as women age out, and that's what it is, we age out. It's a very tough reality, but we do. So your estrogen levels will naturally, as we age, will deplete. Your progesterone levels will start to pick up, and that's why you have the symptomatology that you have. But I do believe that there are things that you can do to boost serotonin, to boost your sleep cycles. But the reality is, too, is the foods, it's so convoluted. When I talk about convoluted, it's like, all right, if I tell you, go walk, go lift some weights, because as our estrogen depletes, we become more in line with people that have osteoporosis, which means that the calcium no longer is laying down the bone. You can break bones, our bones become brittle. This all has to play with estrogen. So there's two things. So, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's just something. But the other thing is that you really have to be cognitive about what food that you eat. So by me saying what food that you eat, you have to watch like soy-based products. Soy is a natural estrogen. They've done studies in other countries where they fed fish and frogs nothing but soy, and they have changed their genders from male to female.
Well, there's also the atrazine.
Like, did you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, wait.
Atrazine is the food preservative that literally changed frogs from male to female.
Yeah, preservative and soy. So if you look on the back of your ingredient deck, and like I said, this you could go so far down a rabbit hole you would never see our bunny tails on some of this stuff. But if
that's everything these days.
Yeah, but if you look honestly at everything that you see, there are soy's in everything. Soy protein, soy.
Soy and corn.
Yeah. Well, corn has to do with the glyphosate, right? Like glyphosate has to do with gluten allergies, and I always tell people that's
going to be another episode. That's going to be a whole another episode.
There's an ingredient that you can get off of Amazon. Glycine, and you take it at night in a glass of water and drink it, and it helps your body to grab on to the glyphosate. And I mean the glyphosate that comes from the pollutants that's in our food, and helps to get it out of the body.
So, okay, I think that's another thing. That's another thing that's really important, though. That was going to be one of my questions is, okay, in addition to walking and in addition to making sure that you're eating...
you have to get mobile. Like, we are a non-mobile society. We're walking with our heads down. Now they're doing things where you're virtual reality glasses, which really makes you less mobile. If you look back in the 70s and you saw pictures of people on the beach in the 70s, and you looked at people even younger, there was no obesity. People were not pudgy. And listen, I'm pudgy. Okay, I can say this because I don't always practice what I preach. I can give you the information. It's up to you to do whatever you want to with the information. Sometimes I don't eat my own words, but here's the thing. They weren't. So the food supply is poor. There's no nutrients in the soil anymore. So you have to, in order to get your serotonin levels up, you have to do something that's active. And in order to keep your bones nice and healthy, you do have to lift a weight. So there are two nice and easy things that you can do to see if that starts to retard a little bit the effects. And you'll notice that once the serotonin is bumping up, once you'll start to feel better. Your joints will start to move. You'll start to circulate some of the inflammation out. Everybody, unless you are like Emily here on Whole30, the entire population is walking around inflamed.
Well, but
We're all inflamed.
That's in large part to our toxic food system. So I think that's the third whatever spoke on the wheel is you have to move. What was the second thing that you said?
So you need a little weight. You need some resistance.
And you have to pay attention to what you're eating. And I think it's really hard because we're bombarded by ads everywhere for fast food that's literally not even real food. It's fake food.
Yeah.
So what is that doing to your body? I mean, again, a whole nother episode, but...
Let me give you a little tip.
Eat real food.
Let me give you a little tip. When you're at the grocery store, stay on the outer part of the grocery store. Stay on the perimeter. Don't go into the center of the grocery store. So stay on the outer parts of the grocery store because that's where your real fruits and vegetables are. That's where your eggs, where your cheese, all of your good stuff. The closer you go into the middle of the grocery store is all the crap.
Well, and what happens with the crap? Because again, it's one thing to say...
turns your body into crap.
But I'm going to make you explain that because what happens
she's going to make me dust off what brain cell I have left.
I'm going to make you do it. So when you are eating toxic food that your body does not recognize, what happens to it? I have the answer. I'm going to see if you say what I think you're going to say.
Well, it becomes stored in your cells
As toxins.
That's right.
And that causes inflammation.
And causes inflammation. So
And that
what
makes you
organs is it stored at?
puffy.
Stored in your liver
Okay.
and your kidneys. They're the big detoxifiers in your body, the liver and the kidneys. That's why
trying to read
even
comments.
medication, when you take that, they say a lot of medication you have to go and have liver analysis done, right? A lot of times they look for any kind of proteinuria, any kind of proteins that are spilling out in your urine, because that means your body's breaking things down the wrong way and storing things.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting. I think I had that once in my blood work. I
You
had protein in my urine.
It could be that you just ate a lot of protein. There's differences, what they call bun. That I can get so deep.
No, we're not going
There's
deep.
no need for you.
But it's hard, and it goes back to being your own advocate, because you see magazine ads, you see social media ads for the McDonald's and the Burger King, and listen, we're not sitting here
I don't care if there's a McDonald's executive watching here, which I seriously doubt. I will never eat at a McDonald's.
Neither would I.
Ever.
I don't eat fast food at all.
Ever.
I will have a Chick-fil-A
I
nugget.
do like a good Chick-fil-A, but have you seen the recent Chick-fil-A thing where they did with the McDonald's, where they put it in the closet for 4 months and there was no mold on it?
Not surprised.
The same as
It's fake
McDonald's.
food. It's like a toy that you eat. It's like eating plastic.
Do you know they put 13 different chemicals in Chick-fil-A to make you addicted to it?
I didn't know that, but I won't be eating them now either.
Wouldn't surprise me because I'm addicted to Chick-fil-A. I like a good Chick-fil-A, and I like their diet lemonade.
Oh, yeah, they do have good lemonade.
Should never drink any of that stuff. Aspartame.
I don't do aspartame.
Yeah, aspartame, saccharin.
I want to just clarify,
neurotoxins for your brain. Neurotoxins.
We're not saying at all that everybody should go and buy only organic, because I get it. We can't all do that. It's cost prohibitive.
Expensive.
It's wildly expensive. But I think when you're looking to mitigate symptoms that you're having, I got to tell you, Emily and I have talked about this for years.
Hi, buddy.
9 out of 10 of your health problems are likely rooted
From your
in
gut.
what you're eating.
It's all from your
and
gut.
what it's doing to your gut.
Yes.
So if you are not paying close attention to what you're eating and what that's doing to your gut and what could be in what chemicals are in the food that you're eating, you're just doing yourself a disservice. That's all we're saying.
So there's 2 things I think that you can try too. Here's 2 things. You're going to really think I'm out there. I'm really not. I'm as not out there as you think I am out there. First and foremost, go outside.
So true.
First and foremost.
That Europe has banned almost all of the pesticides and the
Yeah, it's a
chemicals that
glyphosate.
the lovely US of A allows in our food.
So, eliminate corn from your diet. So, any ingredient that you see, read your ingredient list, because don't blindly trust anyone. You don't even have to blindly trust me, okay? But read it. If it contains corn, it contains glyphosate. I don't care. Every piece of corn that's really grown in the United States, this glyphosate was created to, it's a pesticide to get rid of the pest. And the reason why they use glyphosate, it's the same thing, all these Roundup, cancer, class action lawsuits, all that shit. So it's in your food. So and if it has corn byproducts, even for your pets, please, because believe it or not, corn byproducts is in your pet's food and they're just as allergic. Wonder why they're eating their paws.
Oh, that's
right?
Lola.
So, no corn. So that was what I'm going to say, but that is the big thing. Try to just eliminate the corn from your diet. And I love corn. If you want to do it, get it from the local farmer in the summertime and eat it off the cob. That's when you're going to get your corn, okay? Corn doesn't grow in the middle of winter
Oh, my
in the
stomach's
Northeast.
making noise. Sorry if you hear
Second
that.
thing, I want you to do 2 things that you can do right now, today, and I know this is going to sound crazy. Do it today if you're in the Northeast, because tomorrow it's going to rain.
Oh.
You need sun. You need 20 minutes of sun. Okay, we've blocked out the sun.
Oh, I love this conversation. Yes. Okay. Let's get into it.
We are slathering our bodies in SPF, and we're literally...
This is a very controversial topic. Okay. A lot of people are not ready to hear this.
Don't wear sunglasses out in the sun.
That's okay. It doesn't make it not true. So don't come for us. We're not here to be jerks.
Yeah.
This is Real information. And
so you need 20 minutes
recently.
of sun, because sun is where you get your real vitamin D from.
Well, the sun is the source of life. Look at outside. How does everything live? How does greenery live? How do vegetables live? How does fruit live? You need the sun.
Need the sun.
Sun provides life.
20 minutes of sun. So here's the thing. Okay, I'm not saying go lay out in the sun and get a sunburn. But there's a couple things I'll tell you about the sun. One, everyone wears sunglasses to protect your eyes. But when you wear sunglasses, it tells your body that
Blocks
it's not
the melanin
sunny.
receptors.
Yeah, it's not sunny outside anymore. So I don't need to work so hard to get my melanin up. So that's why you burn. So everybody's out there on the beach with their sunglasses on, frying and lathering themselves in SPF. It is the most moronic thing possible. So literally 20 minutes in the sun, okay? Don't go out there and bake, but 20 minutes, okay? That's one.
Without sunscreen.
Yes. Without sunscreen, go out and get some vitamin D.
Vitamin D deficiency is the real epidemic. And so it's the root cause of so many issues.
Yes.
And when you are wearing sunscreen
everybody in
all
this country
day,
is
every
depleted
day
in
in your
magnesium
house,
and D. Yes.
you are never getting your vitamin D.
You need vitamin D.
So there were a lot of studies done actually with COVID that showed that people that were more likely to die from COVID were because they were severely depleted in vitamin C, which is the key, literally the key to the door of your immune system. Your immune system can't regulate and can't function without proper levels of vitamin D.
Yep.
So this is like I'm like really passionate about this. And I find it so fascinating how like it's almost like a religion. When you tell people this, they get like wildly offended as if you like kick their dog.
Well,
but
nobody's
it's like,
telling
I'm not
you to
kicking
go-
your dog.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Nobody's telling you to go out and lay on a silver blanket with baby oil and iodine like I did in 1980 and fry. Okay? We're not telling you to. We're telling you to be sensible, but get 20 minutes of sun.
And honestly, wear mineral-based sunscreen. When you're going to wear it,
correct.
wear mineral-based.
That's
I
right.
can imagine we're going to get some hate in the comments
That's
for this.
okay. I don't care if we get hate. I don't really care who hates me. But here's the other thing. All right, so
Yes, you
now
do.
here's the one that's going to
A little bit, this
you're going to
much.
think that this is really weird. But it's something that I do. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hit me.
You're going to be you might be shocked with this one.
I might. Really?
Maybe.
All right, let's hear it.
So I ground myself.
I
a
am
grounder.
getting a grounding mat.
You don't need a grounding mat. Go take your shoes off.
It's 20 degrees outside.
Go, I don't care.
Francesca
Go take
and
your
I-
shoes off for a couple of
Francesca's
minutes.
mom, hi.
Go stand on the ground.
All right, explain it. Go ahead. This is Gary Brecka right here. Love it.
Well, so ground. It's interesting. We've placed shoes and we've changed our foot shape. Like there's so much crazy stuff that they've done in real life to like actually benefit, but at the end of the day, to not benefit. But you get all the Earth's minerals.
You are a
in the
frequency
ground.
being.
Yes.
Again, not a popular opinion, but sorry.
It's the energy from the Earth. They've
You
done
are
so
an
many
energy
studies
being.
grounding. Yeah,
We are surrounded
I know, it's crazy.
by Wi-Fi. We're surrounded by phones. We're surrounded by all this stuff and shit that we can't see that affects your physical body. So that's why I would love for you to explain, like, grounding.
Go
what
ahead.
is that
You're
doing?
getting a grounding mat.
No,
Why
no.
Why are you getting a grounding mat?
Because it brings you back to your natural frequent state that you're supposed to be in alignment with so that you can flow, so that everything in your body can flow.
There's other benefits too, but go ahead.
And it brings your frequency back. So that's why I want to get a grounding mat. And I would love to hear kind of why you do it.
No, that's why, because the earth is energetic. It does ground you. It does all that stuff too. But a lot of absorption comes from the feet. So your minerals, all your minerals and vitamins that are in the soil, you stand with your feet on the soil, you get absorption of the minerals through your feet. So it does ground you with the earth. And now I know that you guys probably think that is crazy to tell you, hey, it's February, take your shoes off and go stand on the dead beat grass that's out there. It's really not the grass, it's the dirt that you're really getting. But yeah, there's
And the beach.
yeah, the beach has different. Yeah, the beach does.
It's literally like a cure for depression, I was reading.
And vitamin D. And
no, when you put your feet in the sand, there's something with like the ionic composition of the sand near the ocean.
The salt. The salt takes it out. That's why they do salt baths. Think about their salt caves.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean all that stuff. It's a salt. So yeah, go stand in the beach. Go walk. Take your shoes off. stand out in the. I know it sounds crazy, but I do it. Now I got Bob doing it.
You know what
that's
I
a
do?
Bob chronicle.
Wow, you got Bob doing it?
He doesn't even take his shoes off, I think, to go to bed. Like the man lives in his shoes. I'm go take your shoes. No, I'm not doing it. Go stand on the dirt.
Well, here's the thing. I am doing it, and
I
hate to admit this, but I want to get a grounding mat because I want to sleep on it. Because for
you want to sleep on that?
For convenience purposes, like I wish I had 10 minutes in the morning to go stand outside, but like I don't. Our house is very, very regimented in the morning. Like every minute is like planned out and scheduled.
Well, you do have 3 small children,
and so I can't just stand outside like gazing. You know, eventually at one point in time I'll be able to do that, but it's not right now.
It's not so much gazing.
You know what's something I do?
What?
I think I've told you this before, and I'm really trying to get back to it. I fell off for a little while, but now I'm trying to do it when I put everybody to bed or on the weekends when the girls are sleeping, is sauna. So
sauna is it actually can cure depression.
Well, it can cure depression. It detoxes your organs.
Absolutely.
It helps with estrogen detox.
Yep.
It's red light therapy, which is great for anti-aging.
Yep.
It has so many benefits.
Red light therapy also great for anti-aging. It's also holy shit! I was just going to say something. Oh, it's a natural immune defender.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I think people go into red lights and stuff like that have acne, talk about inflammation. Yeah. Yep, what are you reading?
I know.
I can't see that far away.
So she's saying that a grounding mat isn't the same thing.
I think it's probably close to it because I'm going to tell you with the grounding mat, you're probably correct. It's better to just go stand on Mother Earth. And trust me, I am as far from like go stand on Mother Earth as can be.
I am.
Like
I'm there.
She's Mother Earth. I'm not, but I'm telling you, these are things that.
But I've just had
a grounding
experiences.
mat's like I think they did it for a lot of times because there's so many people that live in cities that
we live here in the Northeast. Where guess what? You know what the temperature is today?
Yeah,
like 35.
It's nice when you're going through menopause. That's like air conditioning. People know what I'm talking about with that.
So that's interesting.
But
so I just was reading a comment. So the sauna that I use is a dry sauna. So
I prefer a dry sauna over a wet sauna.
Yeah,
just because of mold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't
wet
think of that.
saunas,
but it really
mold,
helps.
Water. You need. As soon as you have water, you have life.
Detox estrogen.
Yeah, it
purges, like you were saying, how the cells have memory. It literally heats up your organs.
It's not so much the memory; it's they hold on to estrogen. So they've done studies. Like I said, you could flip flop.
Not that
so
I
many
trust
different
all
ways.
studies because I don't.
No. These studies were done by. Hold on. What is it? What is it?
Independent scientists?
No, I'll tell you now. I can't think of it because that's what happens when you go through menopause. You have one brain cell, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Can you, before you tell us what you were going to tell us, is there something that you can do for that? Is there something that you feel like you can do for brain fog, like maybe B12 supplementation? Or...
Absolutely. So I mean, I think all these things that we talk about, right? Like, and I just think that some things will work for some people, and some things won't work. I could tell you to do 100 different things, and you could come back to me and be like, Doris, none of it worked, or say, oh, those 3 things worked for me. So I think these are different things that we're a pretty sediment society. Like we don't really get out there and do a nice brisk walk for 20 minutes in the sun, stand on the ground, do a little resistance. And resistance is weight. You know, they did studies where they did people in retirement homes, like assistant living homes.
Okay.
And they did 2 things. They took one that just did like regular kind of like aerobic activity where they danced and did whatever. And then they took another group. That's the man right there. He just had his eyes done. He's so handsome. How he got his eyes done before me is unbelievable. He's looking for this.
He looks happy.
Because he doesn't have eyelashes in his eyeballs anymore. Anyway, so they took another control group and they did weight training.
Okay.
Weight training. Like lifting weights.
That doesn't smell good.
It's a cheeseburger.
Well, it doesn't smell like a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. It smells like a cheeseburger.
Oh, it stinks.
It smells like a cheeseburger. That's what his farts are going to smell like in about an hour.
Oh, great.
So here's
Can't wait for PD meeting today.
So they did these studies and the weight training, okay? I'm not telling you to go lift and like, but resistance. It's resistance. Weight training. Those people went from being wheelchair bound, people with signs of Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease, joint destruction, difficulty walking, difficulty stabilizing, no core strength, and it changed all of that.
I believe it wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt.
Changed it all. So if you're sitting there and you're going, my knees hurt, this hurts, unless it's like you have no synovial fluid in your knee and you're bone on bone and you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement. When you start doing those things, muscles have memory.
They do.
Muscles have memory.
They do.
And exercise is cumulative. So you get out there, and even if it's like a minute.
Wait, one thing I want to hit on before we have to end because it's 1:00. But exercise.
Yes.
So I think oftentimes we talk about this and people are like, I can't exercise. I'm in too much pain. One of the things that you do and I do is Pilates, which is great.
I love Pilates.
Tell me about why.
Well, I think Pilates...
low impact.
It's low impact, but Pilates works on the intrinsic muscle group versus the large muscle group. So the intrinsic muscles are the muscles that support, the supporting muscles. Large muscles are the muscles of action, right? Like the big thigh muscle, the big bicep. These are muscles of action. Intrinsic muscles are supporting muscles, so it really gets in there and it steadies them, which steadies the core.
That's why it put my diastasis back together. It put my...
Yeah, because it hits those little tiny muscles that, like if I went into a gym and I was just going to sit there and do bicep curls, okay, it's not going to work on all of these. If you remember looking at a skeleton in biology class.
I don't remember that.
Well.
No. I mean,
really, so you have like all these like little interstitial, these little muscles that go in between the ribs, and all of these like when you eat ribs, you see all those little muscles and everything. They support bone structure.
Okay.
So by keeping them really strong, it helps to revive the core. And when you can keep your core muscle strong, you have better stabilization. You can walk better, and it's just like this ripple effect. I'm a big fan of Pilates. Listen, yoga's really good, but Pilates adds resistance.
Right, the weight.
So to me, I like Pilates personally better. Plus, also, I get to lay down and do it.
And it's hard in a good way. Like Pilates is one of those things where you'll be doing a class and you'll be like, oh, this is so easy. Like, then the next day you're like, oh my God, I'm sore.
It also forces range of motion.
Stretching.
Yep.
It's
range
such a good thing to do. So, all right. No one ever promised that we were going to stay on topic, but it is 1:00.
We never do.
So we do have to end, unfortunately, for today.
I will come up. You know what? Next Thursday, I'm going to come up with a solid list. Next Thursday, a solid list of things that you can do to support your peri-menopause symptoms and post. I will come up a list of top 10 things that you should try.
And if you have any questions,
I go off tangent.
Post them here in the comments.
Yeah, post
anywhere.
them.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Send us a DM. We welcome all the feedback. So this was a test run of a podcast, just so everyone knows.
Yeah.
Our setup is going to look a little different. The app or the podcast will be posted to our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it. And then we're also going to be posting it to like Spotify, so you can listen to it if you want. So that's basically it. We have to take you into PD now. But
no, I have to
let
go
us
make
know your
stuff.
thoughts.
Yes.
Let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about next week.
And next time, maybe I will try to break it down a little bit more. I think what happens, I get into my doctor head.
I know. I got to bring you back. I got to bring you back to the layman's terms.
Do you want to sniff this before I do it?
No, I do not. All right, dolls, we love you. We appreciate you spending an hour of your day with us. And we'll see you here
next Thursday
week for What the Cup.
Yeah.
All right.